These gaming setups will inspire you to improve yours. So sit back, take some notes, and let's get started. This is Smitty Mason's setup. Okay. 15 years old from Texas. Already an amazing setup for 15. He streams on YouTube and he's a high school student. That's great as well. Love the peripherals here. His main game is Fortnite. That's awesome. I love everything in the setup so far. His old setup was just a Chromebook. That's kind of a come up though. I can't even lie. That's a come up. Inspiration for his setup is to never stop or settle. That's cool. I love this room, dude. Just the room in general. The lights coming down the wall, the Govy lights up here, the aesthetic, the panels, the lighting in between, all of that's amazing. He gets his earnings from YouTube and creator code revenue. Dang, okay. He bought a setup from creator code revenue on Fortnite. He started building my setup in June 2020. Okay, so he's went from 2020 to now. So he started building this when he was 13. So basically content and live streaming is what he uses it for. But looking at the setup, I love everything. I mean, from the cable management to the usefulness of every single part of the desk he's used on. Everything has its place. It's beautiful looking, like just like the cable management as well is managed very well. I just love like the whole aesthetic. I think personally this is like a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. I really enjoy the aesthetic of this. I think the aesthetic is what sets it up for me, and then not to mention all how clean his cable management is. It's great. This is Archie's setup. I love this already. He's 15 years old from England. Man, a lot of 15-year-olds in the setup video. Holy. He makes tech talk content. Okay. His main game is Call of Duty, and this PC looks insane. Also, love the keyboard, love the accents as well. Various setups on TikTok inspired him to build his. He's a setup for gaming, editing, and graphic design. Really talented kid. He got his first setup in 2017, and he's been upgrading it since. He built a setup using birthday money and work. He built a setup with some help from his dad. Okay, understandable. You're 15. I love this aesthetic. Looking at it like this, I love the double stack here. I think he did a great job with this kind of vibe here. I also love the Govy glide and the nanolleaves up the side. I think it adds a really nice aesthetic. Also like you got, you know, dual chargers for both mice. I think that's kind of elite. And then I also love your PC aesthetic. The keyboard mouse combo, I love how it's like, I think this is maybe a 75, kind of similar to mine. Got the F-row, love the accents, love the mouse too. If I were looking at it just by itself, I would probably rate this like an 8, but knowing that he has cable management and everything as well, like cable management's kind of bad in the setup, I'd probably go like a 7.5. But yeah. Oh yeah, but I love this setup. I love the aesthetics. I think the only thing that needs to be better is his cable management. The next setup is by Ryan. Okay. He's 17-year-old from Texas. Okay. He's a CFA manager. I don't even know what that means. His previous setup was just an Xbox and a single monitor, so he's kind of on the come up. He's got a PC now. He built a setup from editing pictures plus videos for school and gaming. Cool. That's cool. Cool job. Photography work and video work is awesome. I built his first PC in June 2022. Okay, so he's kind of been upgrading since 2022. That's awesome. So I love the personality in the room as well. He's inspired by seeing amazing setups online and wanted to replicate it. Awesome. He built a setup using the money working as a CFA. I've been slowly building this setup since I built my PC. So he probably built his PC in June, and then he's been upgrading over time. So looking at the setup as a whole, I think he did a great job with the aesthetic. The only thing I would say is maybe move this PC a little further back. If you need longer cables, then, you know, extend those cables. But yeah, I also love the pegboard on the left side. I didn't talk much about this, but I like how you stored everything here. I like how you did like everything in the different jars, and how you started hanging up stuff. I think that's really cool. Also, you know, since he's a subscriber on YouTube, he's definitely a winner. You can see first place right there. So if you subscribe on YouTube, you're a winner. But yeah, also the cable management looks pretty good for what you got. Also love the backgrounds too. I think you did a great job with that as well. I would probably rate this like an 8, honestly. It's actually really well put together. So the next setup is by Braden. He's from Vermont. Sheesh. He currently mows lawns. Okay. His main games are 5M and Rust. His old setup was just an Xbox and a monitor, so he's on the come up here. I built a setup around a year ago. I would say the leg room is not enough in my opinion. His mom and his dad helped me build this setup. Okay, cool. Took about 3 hours to build it all in total. I planned on upgrading the PC specs in the future. Okay, yeah, definitely needed. The one thing I'd really say about this setup is you don't really have much leg room, but I honestly would have went legs instead of Elixir here, just because you don't have a lot of room. I would just say also go for his 60% to kind of save some more room, but I definitely think taking the Elixir out, putting 2 more legs and everything would be the goal here, just because again, like your PC overall, not a bad setup. I'd probably rate it a 6 out of 10. All right, moving on to the next one, Sicilian. I hope I said your name right. The Sicilian setup. They're 13 years old from Dublin, Ireland. Really clean. All right, let's take a look. The main game is Warzone 2. Okay. He built the setup a year and a half ago during COVID. Okay. W. The room looks insanely nice. Setup took about 6 months to build. Okay. W. His old setup was a PS4 and an old monitor, so he's kind of upgraded a lot from there. He built the setup using his birthday and Christmas money, which is cool. So he's kind of upgraded during birthdays, Christmases, and stuff. That's awesome. And then his dad helped him build the entire setup, which I really like this space bar, by the way. That's really cool on this keyboard. I mainly use my setup for school and gaming. So, yeah, the one thing I noticed right off of the rip was there was no mouse pad, right? Just because I run a mouse pad business, you know, like, that's the first thing I noticed. I don't know if this applies to everybody, but for some reason, that's like the first thing I noticed when I walk into a setup. I think mouse pad number 1, you got to get a mouse pad. 2, I would say to mount this monitor on the wall, since the stand has a really round, like, it's really round. And it kind of like blocks off your keyboard more. I'd say if you can mount this to the wall, I would mount it to the wall. PC and the Lee Mini, love it. Love this AIO, the way you built it in here, the black and white aesthetic, very, very clean. You did a great job building your PC. On top of that, I love the room and the shelves and everything, and the aesthetic you got going on look really good. For 13, this is an insane setup. Love the painted wall behind the monitor. I think it adds so much more than you think. Cable management is great as well. I also love how you did headphone hangers here on the right for both your headphones. Really clean. Keyboard and mouse combo, really solid as well. I love this setup. I think it's really clean. Like just the room, the aesthetic, everything. So I would probably rate it an 8 out of 10. All right, the next setup is by Scoop. He's 25 years old from England. Okay. He's an active duty Air Force. Oh, that's cool. He mainly uses a setup for streaming and editing. So thank you for your service as well. That's awesome that he streams and everything. That's pretty cool. He has a dual PC setup for streaming. Okay, all right, love to see it. I started building my setup September 2020. Dude, I love how you have the dual mouse pad. This is cool, bro. It took about 2.5 years to build it all. That's really cool. I was inspired by Gutsy, Matty K, and TechSource. Awesome. He'd like to get a 4th monitor and upgrade his lighting a little bit more. Such an insane setup. So much personality. The double mouse pad with the keyboard tray that matches the desk is wild. That's such a unique thing I've never seen anybody do. A mini version of my mouse pad of the same one and bought the same. That's so sick. In my opinion, the only thing I would say for this is the cable management for sure. You know, it could be a little better. I also love all the personality in the background, the Lego Thor, the Lego Hogwarts, the fridge, all the paintings on the wall, everything. Like, this is just a really nice, like, aesthetically pleasing setup for sure. So I'd probably rate it at 9.5 out of 10. I really love the aesthetic, and you get another point for me using both mouse pads. I think that's so sick. The next one is by Scott. Scott is a 9-year-old out of Scotland. Okay. He's a setup for watching YouTube and Discord. We're getting a lot of 9-year-old setups now. His old setup was a laptop and was super ugly. Okay, so he's kind of like upgraded since then. He started building a setup in December 2022. He built the setup using his birthday money. That's a W. His parents helped me build most of it. That's cool. I love the aesthetic, man. So there's not a whole lot to the setup. Honestly, it looks really solid for what you have. It looks like you got a pre-built there. For a 9-year-old setup, pretty freaking clean. I'd say I'd probably say a 7. Yeah, it's probably good. But yeah, I love this setup. I think it looks really clean and the aesthetic's really nice for, you know, 9 years old. This is Michael's setup. I think this is the last setup of the day. I'm 15 years old from Tarnow, Poland. Okay, he's in middle school and he plays COD and Valorant as his main game. His old setup was an Xbox One S and a TV. Okay, that's kind of a huge update though. He started building his setup in the 2020 during COVID. Okay, that's kind of a W. He's inspired by Gutsy and TechSource. I use my setup mainly for school and gaming. Okay. He built the setup by doing chores and birthday money. Okay. But yeah, it looks pretty clean. I love the shelves, all the boxes you're using, the Lego Baby Yoda, all the personality there as well. Cable management, honestly, pretty solid. Gaming PC could use some work. Intel stock fan could use some work for sure. Also love the wallpapers and all the foam you put around it. I think it adds such a nice like aesthetic as well. I think personally, I'd probably rate it. I'm gonna go an 8. No, I'm gonna go a 7 out of 10. I think it looks good. If you enjoyed that video, watch this one next, and don't forget to follow the Twitch down below. See you there.